You think you are doing the right thing when you eat oats for breakfast. After all, everyone says oatmeal is healthy for people with diabetes, but there is one detail almost no one mentions. Not all oats are the same. Instant oats, the kind you dissolve in hot water in 2 minutes, can have a glycemic index as high as a slice of white bread. Meanwhile, another type of oats, prepared differently, has a glycemic index nearly half that. Same plant, same origin, completely different result on your blood sugar. And most people with diabetes are choosing the wrong type, the wrong way, at the wrong time, and cannot understand why blood glucose is still hard to control even when eating healthy. I have spent many years working in clinical nutrition and dietary management of diabetes, and oats are probably the food I receive the most questions about, and the one generating the most confusion. Oats can be one of the most powerful tools for glycemic control when you choose the right type and prepare them correctly, and they can be mediocre or even counterproductive when you get it wrong. Today, I am going to show you exactly the difference. In this video, you will learn about the 5 types of oats organized from highest to lowest glycemic impact, from worst to best for people with diabetes, and you will learn how to prepare each one to maximize the benefits proven by science. Share this video now with someone who has diabetes or prediabetes before you continue watching. This video is educational and does not replace individualized medical or nutritional guidance. Let us begin. Before talking about oat types, you need to understand the component that makes oats potentially so powerful for glycemic control, beta-glucan. Beta-glucan is a soluble fiber found in oats that, when it comes into contact with water in the stomach and intestine, forms a viscous gel. This gel has 2 fundamental effects. First, it slows gastric emptying. The stomach takes longer to empty its contents into the intestine, which already decelerates the absorption of any food. Second, it forms a physical barrier on the wall of the small intestine that slows the absorption of glucose directly into the bloodstream. The result is a much smoother blood glucose curve, without the sharp spike that occurs with carbohydrates lacking fiber. The European Food Safety Authority, EFSA, approved a specific health claim in 2011 for oat beta-glucan. Consuming 3 grams of beta-glucan per day contributes to the maintenance of normal blood cholesterol levels and to the reduction of the post-meal blood glucose spike. 3 grams. That equals an adequate portion of oats. But the critical point is that the amount of available beta-glucan depends enormously on the type of oats and the preparation method. Type number 5, instant or quick cooking oats. This is the underperformer of the list, not because it is inherently harmful, but because it is the type of oats with the lowest protective effect on blood glucose among all 5. Instant oats go through an intensive industrial process. The grains are pre-steamed, rolled into extremely thin flakes, and sometimes partially hydrolyzed. This processing destroys much of the physical structure of the beta-glucan. The long fiber chains are broken into smaller fragments that dissolve much faster in the stomach, forming a less viscous and less effective gel for slowing glucose absorption. The glycemic index of instant oats ranges from 65 to 83, placing it in the high glycemic impact range. Frank was 66 years old, a retired contractor from Sacramento, with type 2 diabetes for 5 years. He ate instant oats every morning thinking he was making the right choice. His 2-hour post-breakfast blood glucose was chronically between 165 and 185. When we switched to rolled oats, prepared as overnight oats, without changing anything else in the diet, the 2-hour blood glucose dropped to the 130–144 range. The healthy oatmeal had been causing much of the problem. How to use if you have no alternative. Choose versions with no added sugar, no flavorings, and no dried fruit. Prepare with whole milk instead of water. Add chia seeds or ground flaxseed to partially restore the lost viscosity. Type number 4, old-fashioned rolled oats or thin oat flakes. Thin rolled oats go through less processing than instant oats, but are still rolled to a thinner thickness that allows quick cooking. The GI ranges from 55 to 66, better than instant, but still in the moderate to high range for those needing strict glycemic control. How to prepare to maximize the benefit. Prefer slow cooking over low heat for 8 to 10 minutes rather than microwave. Slow cooking better preserves the beta-glucan structure. Add 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed and wait 5 minutes after cooking before eating. The flaxseed absorbs water and increases the overall viscosity of the preparation. The overnight oats method also works well with thin oat flakes. Tell me in the comments where you are watching from right now. Write the name of your city, and if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell now. Type number 3. Thick rolled oats or traditional old-fashioned oats. Thick rolled oats are produced by rolling whole oat grains without the additional processing of instant oats. The greater thickness preserves the integrity of the beta-glucan chains. The gel formed in the stomach and intestine is denser, more viscous, and more effective at slowing glucose absorption. The GI ranges from 50 to 58. A study published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition compared the glycemic effect of thick-rolled oats versus instant oats in participants with type 2 diabetes, and found that thick-rolled oats produced post-meal blood glucose an average of 24 points lower at 1.5 hours after the meal. Margaret was 69 years old, a retired teacher from Phoenix, with an HbA1c of 7.9%. Switching from instant oatmeal to thick rolled oats prepared as overnight oats resulted in an HbA1c of 7.4% in 3 months, with an 18-point reduction in 2-hour post-breakfast blood glucose. How to prepare overnight oats. The most recommended method: mix 40 grams of thick rolled oats with 150 ml of milk or unsweetened plant-based milk. Add 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and refrigerate for at least 8 hours. The cold hydration process forms an extremely dense gel, the most viscous possible with this type of oat, and the starch partially converts to resistant starch during refrigeration, further reducing the GI. Consume cold or warm gently in the microwave for 60 seconds. Do not boil. Type number 2. Steel-cut oats, also called Irish oats. Steel-cut oats are produced by cutting the whole oat grain into 2 or 3 pieces with steel blades, without any rolling or pre-cooking. This completely preserves the structure of the grain, the beta-glucan content, and the integrity of the fiber chains. The GI ranges from 42 to 52. Since the grain has not been flattened, the surface area in contact with digestive enzymes is much smaller. The body must work harder to digest each piece of oat, meaning glucose is released in a much more gradual manner. The beta-glucan, still in long intact structures, forms a highly viscous gel that slows absorption for hours. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition compared steel-cut oats with rolled oats in 32 overweight adults. Steel-cut oats produced not only a lower glycemic peak, but also greater satiety for up to 4 hours after the meal, with a consequently lower caloric intake at the next meal. Richard was 71 years old, a retired businessman from Cleveland with type 2 diabetes and fasting glucose chronically above 143. With 40 grams of steel-cut oats at breakfast, prepared as slow porridge, fasting glucose dropped to an average of 121 in 12 weeks. How to prepare slow porridge. Use a ratio of 1 part oats to 3 parts water or milk. Cook on low heat for 20 to 30 minutes, stirring occasionally. Can be prepared the night before in an electric pressure cooker. Porridge setting for 15 minutes, allow to cool, and reheat the desired portion. Type number 1. Whole oat groats. Whole oat groats are the oat grain with only the outermost hull removed, practically in their natural form, with no additional processing. They are the least known and least consumed, but they are the absolute champion in terms of glycemic benefit. The GI ranges from 40 to 48. The available beta-glucan content is the highest of all types, and the fiber chains are completely intact. Additionally, being the densest grain with the highest natural resistant starch content, Whole oat groats have a satiety effect that lasts hours longer than any other version. Digestion is so slow that studies showed the glycemic response to whole oat groats is distributed over 3 to 4 hours with no pronounced peak, which is physiologically ideal for people with type 2 diabetes who need prolonged glycemic stability. Patricia was 68 years old, a retired professor from Atlanta, with HbA1c of 8.2% and average fasting glucose of 150. With 50 grams of whole oat groats prepared as slow porridge the evening before and consumed at breakfast, HbA1c dropped to 7.6% in 4 months and fasting glucose to an average of 126. How to prepare? Essential method: whole oat groats must be soaked for at least 12 hours in cold water before cooking. After soaking, cook in a ratio of 1 to 3 of water or milk for 45-60 minutes over low heat or 15-20 minutes in a pressure cooker. Can be prepared in large batches and stored in the refrigerator for up to 5 days. To ease the transition, mix 30% whole oat groats with 70% steel-cut oats in the first weeks. These are the signs that your oats are sabotaging your blood glucose without you realizing. Instant oats with dried fruit or flavorings, hidden added sugar. Preparation only with hot water or microwave in under 3 minutes destroys beta-glucan structure. Eating oats alone without protein and healthy fat. Adding honey, sugar, or high GI fruits like ripe banana completely negates the glycemic benefit. Portions above 50 grams of dry oats. The glycemic load exceeds the fiber benefit even in the best types. Here is the complete plan to use oats in your favor starting today. First, immediately switch from instant oats to thick rolled oats as a minimum step, and to steel-cut or whole oat groats as a long-term goal. Second, use the overnight oats method as standard. Third, portion of 35 to 45 grams of dry oats per meal. Fourth, always add a protein source, plain Greek yogurt, eggs, cottage cheese, or nuts. Fifth, add healthy fat, olive oil, unsweetened nut butter, or seeds. The trio of protein, fiber, and fat is the ideal pattern for post-meal glycemic control. Sixth, add cinnamon, 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon, which enhances the insulin sensitizing effect. Seventh, monitor blood glucose 2 hours after breakfast with different oat types and preparations. A meta-analysis published in the British Journal of Nutrition in 2021, analysing data from 23 randomised clinical trials involving more than 1,000 participants with type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, concluded that regular oat consumption is associated with an average 0.42% reduction in HbA1c and 8 mid-DL reduction in fasting glucose compared to control groups, with the effect directly proportional to the integrity of the grain and the amount of preserved beta-glucan. In other words, the less processed the oats, the greater the benefit. My friend, oats can be one of the most powerful dietary tools for people with diabetes, or they can be a well-packaged mistake. The difference lies in which type you choose and how you prepare them. In the next video, I will reveal the seeds that, when added to overnight oats, reduce the blood sugar spike by up to 40% and extend satiety for up to 6 hours. You will not want to miss it. God bless you and give you much health. Until next time.